What is up, you gorgeous, fabulous creatures? Welcome to episode 73 of the No BS Weight Loss Podcast. I am your host, Kylie Pax, Australia's emotional eating coach, and I'm thrilled and delighted to have you here for another week. You know, I still freak out every time. I really freak out every time I think and I see you downloading and listening to the episodes, and I'm so grateful in my heart that you find value in my hideous journey with emotional eating, and that you can take away from it what you need to help you with your journey. Some of you listen because you do suffer with emotional eating. Some of you listen because you are wanting more info about weight loss. You know, we cover it all here because, hello, at the end of the day, if you're emotional eating, you're not going to be losing weight. And if you're losing weight, you've conquered emotional eating. But that's not actually true, because I've lost a lot of weight whilst I was still heavily emotional eating, but I was really hardcore restricting and depriving myself. So if you've landed here, I trust, hope and believe it is with a good reason, and that you will get what you need out of today's episode. Speaking of today's episode, we are talking about 5 reasons why you can't stop eating even though you want to. I mean, please. We know when we've had enough food, and for many of us, this hits at night time, but you may find that your witching hour is much earlier in the day. For me, my witching hour is always immediately after dinner. It's like a giant food fest, just partake. I feel like I want to partake of a giant food fest all night long. And it doesn't hit me as badly anymore because I'm so far into my journey now. But I'm very aware and I'm very savvy, and it really wasn't that long ago that I was still struggling with all these all-night food fests, where as soon as dinner would finish, it's like the brain just clicks in, the voice in your head clicks in, and it just goes, that's not enough, that's not enough. You've waited all day for this surely the eating cannot be done yet. And I would go on this all-night just binge and when I say binge, I don't necessarily mean stuffing my face till I felt sick. I mean just non-stop fucking eating. And even to the point where I would be on my way to bed and I would run to the pantry, just shove a few more things in, because I knew that I wasn't going to get an opportunity to eat again until tomorrow morning. So I wanted to squeeze every drop out of the eating experience right up until the moment my little peepers closed for the night. Now, the first reason that we're going to start with today, when I talk about 5 reasons that you can't stop eating even though you know you want to, of course you know you want to. We're not fools. We're not idiots. We know what it is that we want, but we truly do feel, I did anyway, like my brain had been hijacked and chocolate just had a Wi-Fi connection to my brain and I simply couldn't turn it the fuck off. So coming in from that angle, let's start with point number 1, which we are all the most familiar with, which is emotional eating. As you know, that was the story of my damn life. 30 years I spent wandering around in emotional eating wilderness, truly hating myself, hating my body, thinking the problem was me. Now, here's what I will tell you about emotional eating. It's something that pretty much everybody does. And I can say that with all assurity, because if you've ever found yourself putting food into your little mouth when you're not physically hungry, then you are eating from an emotional reason. I can see, I know my parents, my brother, all of us have done this. And my parents certainly, my mother did have weight issues in her earlier years, but my dad, no, not really. And yet still I'll just observe, there'll be times when he's like, this is so delicious, I'm gonna eat these chips. And he'll say, and he'll tell me, he goes, I'm not even hungry, but I feel like I can't stop. Lucky for him, the man's built like a rake. He can't put weight on if he tries. Why I didn't get those genes, I do not know, but I didn't. I missed out on that gene pool. So anyway, emotional eating is the first reason why you feel that you can't stop eating even though you want to. Now, we all know that emotional eating we use as a way to basically numb our feelings. Most prominently when there's something going on that you don't want to feel, but it can also kick in when there's exciting and happy things going on and you want to celebrate with food. But let's focus on the one that debilitates our soul, which is eating just to numb yourself out, eating because you're feeling depressed or sad, eating for stress, anxiety, boredom. All of these emotions are reasons that will often turn to food. I find this happening with myself so frequently that I'll be working throughout the day, and then it's like if I haven't given myself a break on purpose, it's like my brain will demand a break, and I find myself wandering to the pantry and just staring like, what can I eat? What can I have? And I have to literally stop and catch myself and think, I'm not hungry. What I'm wanting is a timeout. What I'm wanting is a break. What I'm wanting is some distance between myself and whatever task is currently at hand. And I feel like some flavor in my mouth would be a great way to do that. Now, there's different types of hunger. So just digress for a moment. There's different types of hunger. There's head hunger, mouth hunger, and body hunger. Let me repeat those for you. Head hunger, mouth hunger, and body hunger. Emotional eating can kick in usually if it's head hunger or mouth hunger, it's very likely emotional eating. Body hunger, you're physically hungry. That's not emotional eating. Head hunger and mouth hunger, let me explain to you what they look like. Head hunger is when you see something, smell something, or someone mentions something, and you've now got this image in your head, and you're just like, oh, that would be amazing, that would be great. You could be walking past a bakery, and you see the sticky buns, and you're just like, oh, that would be great. That's head hunger. You've seen that with your mouth. You've seen that with your eyes, and the thought has kicked in. Or somebody tells you about this fantastic pizza place that they've been to, and now you're like all obsessed, and all you can think about is pizza. This is head hunger. Mouth hunger is something that I've never heard anybody else talk about, but it's something I identified in myself. And what it will look like for you is you're not hungry. You don't even particularly want a large amount of food, but you just want a flavor in your mouth. You can see my mouth, I'm just going like, you just want a flavor in your mouth. Mouth hunger can look like, I just want a taste of that chocolate because I just want the taste in my mouth, or I just want those lollies or things in the cupboard. I just want to suck on that sort of thing. Like, you want a flavor in your mouth. You don't necessarily want to eat, like I say, large amounts of food. It's not about that. Mouth hunger is not about that. It's just about having a flavor, taste, or sensation going on in your mouth. What I want you to remember about emotional eating is that 90% of your brain's resources are constantly looking for things that are wrong or danger. When your brain came out the box, this is so fucked up the way it works, but when your brain came out the box, it was designed to be 90% let's look for terror, let's look for things that are horrific and bad, and 10% is looking for the good in life. Why? Of course. I mean, I feel like I barely need to explain it to you, but I will, because perhaps not everybody has clued into this, that if you didn't constantly look for danger, you would probably go play in traffic and be like, those colorful cars look like fun. Or you would go and pat the wild koala in the tree and it would scratch you and give you rabies. These are things that we want to avoid. So our brain is constantly scanning our environment for danger and things that could be wrong. That means that you are really, in this day and age, because of course we don't need that in this day and age, but our brains have not adapted yet. I mean, it could be another 1,000 millennia. It could be a very long time before they actually do start kicking in. And think about it, by then, we as a race will have advanced that much more again. I feel like we're always going to be trying to play catch up when it comes to our brains and the way they work and how we are adapting to life as a human race. But if you're constantly looking for the things that are wrong, you are always going to be feeling stressed, bad, or upset to some degree if you don't make a purposeful choice to feel otherwise. And it is a feeling, and you know our feelings always stem from our thoughts. So if you're constantly thinking shitty things, focusing on shitty things, worried about shitty things, don't be surprised if you are kicking into the emotional eating mode of either head hunger, mouth hunger, or body hunger at some point during your day. Now, the second point that I want to share with you today as to why we sometimes feel like we can't stop eating, even though we know damn well that we've had enough and we want to. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this point purely because I'm not educated enough in it to give you a proper rundown, but I want to mention it because so many of you are sitting in this zone, experiencing this and not knowing what is wrong. I also fell into this zone of hormonal imbalances. Now, for me, it was a thyroid issue that was plaguing me probably for 18 months before the doctors finally figured out what was wrong. Nobody knew what was wrong. But very often, the different hormonal balances that we encounter can do things like stimulate an overproduction of the hormone insulin, which can make your cravings really intense and then make it hard to stop snacking or eating or whatever is going on. With thyroid issues, so I myself have hypothyroidism. My brother also has hypothyroidism. My parents have nothing. So we don't know where this little monkey has come from, but we've both had it, my brother and I, for many years. He got it in his teens, or his was at least diagnosed in his teens. Mine wasn't diagnosed till I was in my 20s, sort of mid-20s. And what it looked like for me was not so much affecting my hunger, but certainly affecting my weight. I had an inability to lose weight, and I just kept putting on weight. So it was like everything that I ate just stayed on. And that's purely because my thyroid wasn't working. So all of these factors as well can impact the amount of eating that you are partaking in, emotional eating definitely, and your ability to lose weight. The other thing I will mention very swiftly with thyroid, but hormonal imbalances is that if you are on the contraceptive pill. So I've spoken about this for several weeks now. I had the Mirena in, did not need it for contraception because Phil's had the snip, but I had it in to help balance my hormones, which were completely out of whack at this stage and age that I'm at. The gyno thought that this would be a fabulous idea. And so I had the Mirena in I think I mentioned last week, I thought it was 12 months, but now looking back, it might have been closer to the 2-year mark. And yes, it did help unravel some of the hormone imbalances that I was experiencing and the effects from those. But then, of course, like many of these things, it had side effects and it completely affected my weight and ability to lose weight. So I had that removed now 3 days ago. Life has never been so good, but that's a side note. So all of these factors can certainly impact your hormonal health, which will ultimately affect your eating and weight loss. Now, the third point that I want to mention may seem very simple, and it is on the surface. However, it runs your whole fucking life, and that is your habits and habit creation. Think about it. Your brain wants to repeat, as it should, pleasurable experiences. You do something, if you find it pleasurable, your brain is going to catalog that. It's going to pop up, take a fucking screenshot, pop that away in your files and really demand you to repeat that as often as possible because it was a great experience. Now, if that's fantastic when it comes to things that are safe and fabulous, but when it comes to things like overindulging with food or emotional eating, whilst it may seem pleasurable on the surface, the long-term running effects are clearly not good. We don't like them. So in the moment, it's pleasurable. And that, unfortunately for us, is as far as our habit brain cares. It cares that in the moment it's experiencing pleasure. This is great. Kylie's safe. Everything is fantastic. Screenshot that and make sure she does it again. If you are skipping meals, relying on really highly processed foods in order to get through the day, all of these will be stored in your habit center. And when I talk about skipping meals, you might think, well, how is that bad? Like, surely that's a great thing. I'm skipping meals. Aren't I going to lose weight? Let me be clear. Skipping meals creates a very unhealthy habit that can be really hard to break because on the surface, again, it looks to your habit brain like you're doing something amazing, you're skipping meals, you're saving calories, for sure you're burning off fat, you're going to be thin as a little whippet. Well, it doesn't work like that because we always tend to overcorrect at the following meal. So if you think to yourself, I'm so busy today, I don't have time for breakfast, I don't have time for lunch. Nobody comes home after a day like that, whips out their little salad from the fridge, sits down and calmly eats their 200, 300, 400 calorie salad. Nobody. Like, I'm literally not even kidding when I say this to you. Fucking nobody skips an entire day of meals or even one meal of the day and comes home and does not overcorrect at their meal in the evening. We all do. At the very least, because our brain is telling us we didn't eat all day. So now you can have the extra creamy pasta, you can eat all the things, you can have the cannoli, you can have the lasagna, you can have 5 serves of it because you didn't eat today. That is the biggest load of BS that you will ever hear your brain feeding you. It doesn't matter that you didn't eat during that day. overcorrecting at the evening meal is not going to exacerbate some fantastic weight loss journey. It's going to hinder and stop it. Like, it's going to put a huge roadblock in your way. You can't tell yourself BS stories like skipping meals is in any way beneficial and think that at night you're not going to stuff your face. Let's just like keep it simple, people. You're gonna fucking stuff your face at night. You know that you are, so stop BSing yourself and pretending that you're not. Here's what I want to say to you about habits. Your life, all of it, is going to be whatever you tolerate. If your habit life is shit, then look around you, honey, because you're probably not very happy with your life. But when you design a daily structure of strong habits that you feel really good about integrating into your life, then you can easily look at your choices and you have an instant litmus test to be able to look at them and ask, does this fit into my habit creation life? Does this slot into any of these categories smoothly and easily? Would this live in any of my habit categories and enhance my life? Or is this bullshit that is pulling me down and taking me further away from the life, body, and ultimately relationship with food that I want? Now, on the habit section, I will say as well, because sometimes at night we have a tendency to get really bored. Like when we're not keeping busy, we usually are very busy during the day. It's just how it is now. This is life. Everybody, I'm busy. How have you been? Busy. Everyone, I'm so busy. That's fantastic. Nobody gets an award for being the busiest, but you do you, honey. What I'm saying is at night, we have that tendency to wind down. That's human nature. But sometimes we can get a little bored. And I will tell you, especially when I've finished a series on Netflix, if I can't find something else to dive into straight away, I'm out of my mind. Like, I'm really bored. Here's what I will tell you about boredom. Boredom is the hardest emotion for the human brain to cope with and deal with. And so what we do, I know this sounds shocking, but here's why. Here's what we do. What we do when we're bored is we 99% of the time seek out negative behaviors to relieve our boredom. Why? Because not only are you relieving your boredom, it's quite ingenious really when you think about it. Not only are you relieving your boredom, but you're simultaneously creating a whole new problem for you to focus on, fix, and correct. So when you feel like you're bored and you just want to eat because you're bored, you're not only relieving your boredom, you are also fucking up your weight loss journey and your health and your body and giving yourself a whole new gamut of problems you have to address come the morning. Now, the fourth reason why we feel like we can't stop eating when we really, really want to, and I'll tell you this one had its nasty little claws in me for so long, is food addiction. Now, I used to think food addiction was just bullshit, really. I just thought this is it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. People who think they have a food addiction are just wrong. Like, they just don't. I don't believe in that. But I've since done a lot more research and really tapped into my own experience. And I will tell you this, food addiction is a fucking thing. When we are talking about the highly processed sugars, the flours, the fats, the salt, the shit, the poisonous colors, and it is poisonous, because you can go and look up, I have an actual book that I don't have with me here today because I didn't really know that I was going to be talking about it, but I have a book about the different numbers that are on the back of your processed foods. Any of the numbers, you can look them up, like E160 or any of those. So, and it will tell you exactly what it is, what other manufacturing uses that it has and where you'll find it, and whether it's considered carcinogenic or not. So I've looked up many numbers, and I will tell you, the white bread that I used to get from Woolworths, I don't know if they've changed it now, and I may have the number wrong, but I have a feeling it was 360, E360. I'm gonna have to look it up and put it in the show notes. But E360, I think that was the number, and it was actually ground up chicken feathers, fucking ground up chicken feathers in your white bread. I probably shouldn't say from Woolworths. Well, it was. That's where I used to buy it. I will put the disclaimer. Don't know if it's still in there. Don't know if I'm giving you the correct number, but I'm going to put it in the show notes. It was fucking in there for years. Ground up chicken feathers was in there. Why the fuck would they put that in? It's a filler. It's a filler. They don't have to put wheat, which would be more expensive. They don't have to put actual food in there. They can put chicken feathers and we will eat it and nobody questions it. Now, when we're talking about food addiction, probably the feathers are not addictive. But if we circle back to the sugars, the fats, and the salts, yes, I would crave white sugar like heroin. I've never taken drugs in my life, but I would crave it like a drug. I mean, on the floor, holding onto furniture, I needed something sweet, needed it. Thought I was going to lose my mind. And I literally had to sit through those cravings. And, you know, there's a whole other conversation we could have around that, because I will tell you, if you've ever experienced this, please let me know. Like, send me a note on social, send me a DM, and let me know if you've been in this boat as well. Because I will tell you, if you've ever felt this and you feel like you can't take it, please take comfort in the fact that these cycles only last 90 seconds in your brain. 90 seconds. It's like a computer refresh program. Any feelings that you're feeling in your body are purely a result of the thoughts that you're thinking, which has sent a flood of chemicals into your bloodstream, which has made you feel a particular feeling. In my instance, I was clearly thinking about chocolate, all the chocolate, the types of chocolate. I wanted the chocolate, I wanted it so badly. I was then releasing a flood of chemicals into my bloodstream, which was making me crave the chocolate. You think it's the thoughts that are giving you the craving. It's not. It's the chemicals that are causing the craving. Yes, they're generated by the thoughts, but all of it has a 90-second lifespan, which means they dissipate out of your bloodstream after 90 seconds. And if you're thinking, well, it's lasted longer than 90 seconds for me, Kylie, of course it fucking has, because you've kept thinking the same stupid thought. Gotta have the chocolate, need the chocolate, where can I get some chocolate? As long as you keep those thoughts running, yes, the chemicals will continue to be released and you'll continue to feel the feelings. If you change your thoughts, zone in, hone in, what am I thinking? What bullshit thoughts am I thinking right now? I can't live without this, this is too hard, I just need to get the chocolate. Well, as long as you are running those thoughts through your head, yes, you're going to be feeling the cravings and the feelings. If you can move yourself away from those thoughts, go busy yourself with something else. Just fucking turn the shit off in your head. Go do something else. Don't scroll social media and start looking at recipes. Just do something else and let those chemicals leave your body. You will find the cravings die down real fast. Now, the final point that I'm going to share with you today is one that maybe you've thought about, maybe you've even heard about it, but you're probably not taking seriously. And I will give you this one for free. Lack of sleep is one of the biggest reasons why you feel like you can't stop eating even though you know that you want to. If you are missing even just the shortest amount, like 1 to 2 hours of sleep a night, it will fuck with your hormone factory. It will mess with the insulin and the ghrelin that is released into your body, which tells your body when you're hungry and when to switch off those hunger hormones. And you will literally not be able to stop eating. And I don't even exaggerate when I say that, because you won't get the off signal. Think about it. When you're normally hungry and you start eating and you know you've had enough, you can feel that you've had enough. You feel it in your body. You can feel it. That's it. My stomach, it feels reasonable now. I know I've had enough. If you are sleep deprived, you will not get those signals. And I can say this with all assurity because it happened to me yesterday. I've been very sleep deprived probably the last week. And yesterday, I really took notice of what was going on in my body, what was going on in my body. And I wondered why I wasn't feeling my regular sort of hunger at breakfast time. Or when I say breakfast time, like it was probably 9, 10, maybe 11 a.m. and I still wasn't hungry at all. But I kind of felt like I needed to eat something, but I felt no hunger. Not only that, when I started eating, I didn't get an off switch to stop. And it went on all day. I felt by 3 in the afternoon, I thought, I think I should probably eat something now, like for lunch. I had eaten breakfast. I did eat breakfast. It was amazing. I had a banana split. It was so good. Listen, just side note, if you're not following me for my recipes on Insta, you need to scooch on over there, honey. They're so fucking good. But then it came lunchtime at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Maybe it was even a bit later. And I thought, surely I should be eating something or hungry by now. I knew that I could kind of feel it, but I couldn't get in that zone. So I ate some tuna sushi, which I had with the brown rice. Loved it. That was fantastic. But it went on all day, even into the evening meal. It was then about 7 o'clock. And I thought, again, I feel like my body is probably hungry, but I'm not getting the signals. And I know it was 100% because I was so sleep deprived. So I've really been trying last night, especially, to switch off my socials earlier, let my, get the blue light out of my face earlier, let myself wind down. Tonight I'm going to do some meditation, although we've got the children here, so fucking good luck to me with that. But I'm really going to make that effort because I understand. And when I tell you this next point, you're also going to understand how this will really fuck with your eating life. When you are sleep deprived, you tend to eat around about, and of course this could be way more or maybe less for people, but I find it's usually not less. I find it's at least this or more. You tend to eat around 300 calories extra per day that you are deprived of your sleep. Now, who cares about an extra 300 calories here or there? Well, you fucking should, because let me tell you, that will equate over the course of a week, just a small 300 calories extra a day. This is not massive. If I'm seriously sleep deprived, I would be choosing the Macca's or the Pizza Hut or the whatever over the salad, which is way more than 300 calories a day. But just at the 300 calories a day, you are looking at an extra 3.5 kilos, no. Half a kilo, but to 300 grams to a half a kilo weight gain per week. That's a lot. Listen, that's giving you an extra 2 kilos a month weight gain. And that is so fast, that sort of weight gain, and it's purely because you are not getting the sleep that you need. It's so easy to avoid. It's enjoyable to avoid. Who doesn't like sleeping as an adult? We love it. Nobody wants to get out of bed. This is something that this would be my first point of attack. If I was going to run through the 5 points that we've discussed today and think, where do I start? The 2 that I would think are most important would be the sleep, because it's low-hanging fruit. You can easily jump in on that one and make some changes. Second one would be habits, starting with a morning routine, which I've talked about before, because the importance of that, I cannot overemphasize how a good, solid morning routine will set you up for success throughout the entire day. So my darlings, let me wrap this up by saying the success that you want to see with your weight loss and overcoming emotional eating is purely the byproduct of having quality habits solid in your life. If you are struggling with emotional eating, overeating, even under eating because you're trying to lose weight and thinking that that is the way to go because there's always an emotional eating component to that, please feel free to drop a comment below, DM me over on Insta, and I'm more than happy to chat and help you in any way that I can. Again, let me remind you, 30 years in emotional eating hell. I know what this is like. I have lost and gained anywhere between 10 and 20 kilos so many times. It's fucking embarrassing, but I've been there and I spent most of my life there, and I'm so happy. And my voice is going to break now. Happy and relieved to know that I'm finally out the other side. But honey, it was not a skip through the daisies. It was real torture for me, real torture. And my goal and my aim of this podcast from episode 1 has been to provide you with the tools, strategies, and insight that you need so that you don't have to waste one more day in emotional eating hell. So with that being said, please let me remind you of my free course, which is nearly ready to drop. I say this every week, but it's getting closer. KyliePax.com/free course. Jump on over if you haven't already. Sign your little name up on the dotted line. Be the first to know when it's released in the next few weeks. I've been listening to it now as I've been editing through it. It is priceless. There's no price that I could literally put on this course if I wanted to. It is every last thing you need to know to lose weight and keep it off. It's everything that I did to lose the 15, 20 kilos that I lost multiple times. And I'm giving it to you completely for free. So sign up, KyliePax.com/free course. It's coming to your inbox very shortly. As always, my beautiful ones, thank you so much for joining me again this week. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you here. If there's anything that you want to hear me talk about that you feel like we haven't touched on yet, again, please drop a comment below or DM me over on social. I cannot wait to hear from you. Until then, as always, please remember, oh my God, the only person who has the power to change your life is you. As a strong, independent, fucking smart and intelligent woman, you are able to do this. The only person right now who doesn't think you can is you. I'm telling you that you can't. When you step up and have a look at these 5 different life areas and see where you can make some changes, that is when you've got what it takes. I'm sending you tremendous amounts of love. I will see you again next week. Until then, my gorgeous ones, bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to shimmy your butt over to kyliepax.com/free course and sign up for my free weight loss training so you can start losing your weight now. You'll also find helpful notes and resources in my past podcasts that will help you lose your weight without the BS diet drama. I'll see you next week.